Hello conservationists, this is Mrs. Foes, and the goal of this PowerPoint is to teach you how to present biological data. So then at the end you can judge everything that I've done and point out where I went wrong. This is a goldfinch from Minnesota. Okay, so we're going to go through what to do with mostly what not to do. So the first one we're going to look at is backgrounds. So this is a picture as the background, and you can tell it doesn't make a good background for slides. You can't read the font as well. But that is my house, and that's our cat wall that the cats play on. So you want your backgrounds to be simple, because it's difficult to read if you have those complicated backgrounds. And like for my anatomy classes, all of my PowerPoints are plain white with pictures and text. Conservation, since there's less content on each slide, generally I get to like have a little more fun with it, and they get colors, so that's pretty fancy. But your PowerPoint background should be white, black, or, you know, like a soft color. It shouldn't be distracting. Word per page. Okay, so on average your slide should be about generally 30 seconds of information. And you should not just be reading directly from the slide, right? Because as it says here, if you take the time to look, I don't need you to tell me about it if you've put all the words on the page. And everybody's going to be reading instead of listening to you. So you'll notice that I do this with my PowerPoints is, in general, there's very little text per slide. And of course, I'm sure you'll find a million slides that are not like that now. But it's mostly me talking about the content rather than just the PowerPoint with all the content, right? And then font. Don't do any of these things. Don't change the font's color or colors. Be consistent slide to slide. Your titles should be the same color on each slide. Should be the same font. Should be the same size. Don't make anything too small. And use contrasting colors. So like on a light background, use dark. On a dark background, use light. Don't use similar colors together. Adding visuals. Okay, so this one can be really hard. If you don't have a visual that goes well on the slide, it makes sense that you can discuss, remove it. The goal is to never have a picture on the slide that you don't discuss. But it is really nice to have pictures. I think they're pretty fun. Ooh. Did this just add to my presentation? Or did it just take time and look cheesy? I'm going to go with the latter. Animations, you can have things appear and disappear, but I don't recommend having them go in and out like weird ways. If you have a figure, which you should have some figures in here, introduce it, you know, say what this is about, tell us what the axes are. A lot of the times they're hard to read. And tell us why it's important and what it means. Alright, so this way is this way, that way is that way. It's a giraffe, and it's a giraffe. It's a great pun. Okay, and so your figures, you might be able to tell from this, should not be too complicated, right? I could spend the whole PowerPoint trying to figure out what's going on here and not do it. So make sure they're helpful, clear, you describe them, and not impossible to read. Inserting videos or playing internet sites. So make sure you load anything that you're looking at beforehand. Screenshot things because sometimes it doesn't work. Acknowledgements. It's important, especially if you got funding, that you acknowledge where you got your funding from. You need to cite anything that you've cited. References are really important. Make sure that they're here. And now let's look at some examples. So take a second, figure out what you think is wrong with this slide. So we've got lots of colors. Some are hard to read on the background. Some fonts are really crazy. Shadows, very dizzy and distracting. Here, okay. So one time I was in an airport and I saw a car salesman getting ready for his like sales pitch and practicing it like the PowerPoint on his computer. And he, oh man, it was, by science terms anyways, a terrible PowerPoint. All of his backgrounds were like this, where you couldn't see the words very well. He had crazy pop-ups and animations that detracted from what he was trying to say overall. Right? What's wrong with this one? It's hard to read the parts in the middle. It's a lot of points on a page. That one, let's pretend it's not too blurry. It's still hard to see. There's lots of different colors. It's distracting. If you used anything like this, you've got backgrounds, colors. It's just too much. Okay. And I love this. PowerPoint slides are like children. No matter how ugly they are, you'll think they're beautiful because they're yours. Yep. It's true. So try to be critical. Have someone else look over it. Whenever we give presentations in the biological field when I was a grad student, we would go to a big room and like give the presentation and have someone take notes and like say what works and what doesn't work. So I highly recommend going through your presentation, your slides with someone else who can see it without your biased eye. Because it's yours, you're going to like it, you worked hard on it. So presenting with PowerPoints is one way that biologists share their data. The other way that we share it is during poster sessions, where you'll have the poster and there'll be lots of people at their posters and other people will go around and ask questions. So the posters have the same general format, title on the top, and then 3 columns with information. And you'll see very similar topics to what you'll have to do on your management project. It's like an introduction, materials and methods, results, conclusions. There's citations as well. This is my husband's. I think it's a really nice one. The introduction might be a little bit long, but otherwise it's really nice. And so here's mine from my biological research from my master's student. And so I have an abstract, which you're required to do too, which is like that short summary of, if I don't watch anything else, I have a really good idea of what's going on. I really like when things are bullet pointed. It looks really nice, and these are elephant bullet points, which are fun. It helps break it down. And some nice pictures, my different behaviors that I was looking at in elephants. That's my speaker system that would be put in the bush, and I would play sounds from my laptop. And then you can see the results, pretty clear. I don't expect yours to be quite that intricate. Cool. Then let's look at a few others. This one looks really nice. The boxes help clear where your eyes are supposed to go. That one, a lot of words, right? About 3 people will want that many words. The people who are researching very similar things. Most people will want a much shorter, concise version. Like this one. So this one has a crazy background, but they've made the boxes there wider so it doesn't distract as much. And I really like their plan. Look at that. It's got nice, clear bullet points. Very beautifully visually. It's a great poster. About this one. So here's the version A. Look what they did there to make it better. Now you could come up and understand this really quickly. They went from having methods like this to clear steps with different outcomes. Right? They made their pictures bigger and clearer. Let's compare like their conclusions. They went from one long paragraph to bullet points to help break it down. And then what you should do while you're presenting, whether it be via computer or in person. You should speak with a clear voice. If you're in person, standing, don't wave your arms around like I'm doing right now while I'm talking through this, but you guys can't see it, so it's okay. Don't use fillers, you know. So, like, you'll see me sometimes say so, or how about that. I never say how about that. I don't know where that came from. But make it sound like you don't know what you're talking about as well. Try not to use those. And then if you are with other people and you're doing this and answering questions, You never lie and make up an answer. If you aren't 100% sure, or at least 75% sure, you say, I don't know, but based on what I found, I think it could be this. Never just say that you know. So if someone asks you questions in their response to your presentation, answer them or look up more information to answer it better. Make sure that your voice is loud and clear. If you're in person, your eye contact is good. And have some fun. It's good to show your personality. We want to know who you are. In presentations where you have a monotone reading voice from whatever pages you've written down, it's not as engaging as if you let yourself shine through.